Do you enjoy crawling through dungeons, slaying monsters like no one's business? Do you like playing any class at any given time? Do you like mixing and matching to perfect your own unique playstyle? Or do you just like facing off against 4 other players and showing them who's boss? Or rather, demon? Well, you might just be interested in a little game known as Breach. In today's video, I'm going to be giving my first impressions and a quick little review. So, let's jump right in. Welcome to the introduction of Breach. Now, I do apologize that I did not capture footage of the character creation. I don't know why that just skimmed and flew right over my head, but I sincerely apologize. But I hope to give a verbal synopsis of my experience with the character creation. So, you might have guessed, you start off by creating your character. No, there are not multiple races to choose from. You are stuck with a human. Now, you do get to choose from male and female, and none of the classes are gender locked, which is an A+ in my book. I felt like recently games have gone in that direction to gender locking classes for potential coding reasons and just a purity of purpose, but I do like that they are sticking with the classics of gender-less locked classes. My experience with the character creation was pretty normal. I would say that it wasn't extravagant. A lot of the styles and the presets are edgy, and that's what you have to choose from exactly, presets. There aren't any sliders or things you can grab and tug on your character to minutia or to more detailed affect a character, but you scroll from a bunch of presets, and the presets themselves are edgy and punk, and that's the overall style that I'm getting from Breach, is this very punk and rock and roll-esque feel. Techno, steampunked in some situations, definitely modern. It's not that robes and staves and mystical crystals and broad and shield knighted armor knights. It's very modern, and I like that approach. It's sci-fi, and actually I think that's the best way to summarize the overall character style is sci-fi. To conclude my thoughts on the character creation, it was pretty nice. The presets are fun, and they are definitely appealing to the eye. You can mix and match colors with certain hairstyles to your skin tone. You can go through presets of clothing, so not everyone starts out looking the same, unless you want to coordinate that with your friends. But there's always a nice touch of individuality. So that's my experience with the character creation. I'd say it's pretty much like a B. It's average, but average a little bit. I liked it. And once you are finished with your character creation, you go straight into an introduction guide tutorial area where you learn the basic movements, your W, A, S, and D. You learn to jump. You learn to cast your basic abilities. And in my case, I was playing an Arcane Mender, which is a support class which focuses on healing, which is also able to do some damage when needed. So I just got used to moving around, jumping, using your mouse to aim because it is not tab targeted. This is pretty much purely action. And there's a dodge system, which is nice. You get to learn how to dodge from area of effect attacks, from normal attacks if you so desire. And I think the tutorial is very well done. There are many tooltips that will give you a title and a description underneath it if you so choose to read it, saying, oh, this is your class-specific ability, giving you a little bit of detail of what a class-specific ability is, and then going into, say, the dodging, the details of dodging, dodge away from attacks to mitigate damage, and so on and so forth. You encounter the Veil Demon, which is a main figure of the game very early on. It's a crucial aspect of the game, actually, once you leave the tutorial zone. And you get to fight some demons and see how the veiled, or one of the veiled demons might work if you face off against a veiled demon in your games, if you choose to go with one of the game types, which I will cover in a little bit. But overall, I think the introduction was solid. It taught you how to use your class abilities, and I think set the tone for the game. Thwarting demons, feeling cyber, feeling punk, feeling edgy, feeling cool, and also gave that dungeon aspect where you're going from room to room, corridor to corridor, and completing objectives. So overall, I think the introduction was very well done. If I was grading, if I was a teacher, I'd give it an A. It was really nice. I would also like to mention that there is a tutorial regarding the Veil Demon. Once you leave the very first tutorial, you have the option to go over to a portal and play as a Veil Demon. And the main aspect of this game is that when you are doing your dungeon exploration and your dungeon crawling, depending on the game mode that you choose, there is a mode where 4 allies will go through the dungeon, 4 mages, 4 humans, trying to complete objectives and trying to win. And in this cooperative / competitive mode, there will be one player manning the Veil Demon, trying to stop the mages, the enemy team, and trying to win themselves. So it's really fun. It adds a competitive aspect to PvE content, which I think is very well integrated and very smoothly integrated, with the Veil Demon having their own special skills. Veil Demons are basically their own classes. They're their own figure. And Veil Demons have multiple classes also. It's not just like, oh, I'm going to play one style of Veil Demon, because that could get kind of boring, and I'm very impressed that they thought about that and decided to make multiple classes for even the Veil Demon, even for the enemy character. And going into even the more minute details of the Veil Demon, you can possess normal NPC thralls, which have their own attacks. And if you enjoy that play style of playing the enemy, you'll have quite the array of skills to learn and to manage. So it's going to keep you on your toes. My thoughts on the Veil Demon tutorial was that it was very simple, it was very concise, it didn't feel overly produced per se, or like overly timed. It felt adequate timing. It gave you a nice lore, if you could say that, a nice lore about the Veil Demon, the skills that you can use, your overall objective, and how to maneuver as a Veil Demon. I'd say both tutorials were very well done, in my opinion. I'd also like to mention that there is voice acting in this game that I totally forgot to mention. Wonderful voice acting. If you ever need me, hit me up. Okay, I think we'll move on to the next portion, aside from the introduction, into like the more detailed gameplay, and then my final thoughts on my first impressions of Breach. Moving on to the actual gameplay of Breach. This is a video game, so the gameplay and combat is crucial for this style of dungeon crawling game. And I will just straight up say that I thoroughly enjoy the combat of Breach / love. I mostly play Arcane Mender, however I have tried the Veil Demon, and I believe I've tried one warrior class. I forgot what they were called. Arcane Gladiator? That is probably not the name. However, when it comes to ranged characters and supportive characters, that is where I thrive. And the fact that when playing an Arcane Mender, you're forced to aim, you're forced to manage your allies' health in a more active way, rather than just clicking on their icon and pressing an ability and basically being a healing totem that just sits there. You have to actively think about your positioning, the positioning of your allies, and your own health, because you are going to get attacked. Trust me, it's not a fun life for an Arcane Mender or an Elementalist or any other support. But before I get more into the gameplay, I would like to briefly mention the game types. You can play against AI. I believe you can play solo. or you can play cooperative against AI. But I think the most fun people will have is when you play against other, well, technically one other player. Or actually, no, when you play against other players, because you might be playing the Veiled Demon and you have 4 other players to kill rather than 4 other players trying to survive. So I think that specific game mode is where Breach truly shines. It shines in that dungeon crawling competitive game mode, and it's a lot of fun. You're going to keep on your toes. It's no longer an AI. You have to deal with another human mind, which is much more tricky to manage. You never know what they're going to do. So those are the game modes, and further emphasizing the gameplay. Each class belongs to, I would put in quotes, a school of magic. So let me just paint a picture. I'm playing an Arcane Mender, which I believe is in the school of arcane magic, which means when I level up more and I reach a certain level, I can take other skills from arcane and put them into my Arcane Mender. And other classes in the arcane school would say, would be Elementalist and Chronomancer. So if I happen to get to a certain level, whenever that happens, I can take skills from, say, an Elementalist and a Chronomancer and create my own build. And I really loved that. I was totally down for this class system dungeon crawling, but when I heard that you can mix and match certain skills within your own school of magic, I was like, hands down, here for this. And it's not just one school of magic is just the healers. I will say Arcane, I think, has 2 supports, being the Arcane Mender and the Elementalist. But the Arcane school also has Chronomancer, which is more utility damage ranged class, which I am excited to play. I have yet to play the Chronomancer, and it looks hella fun. So that is the unique aspect of the class combinations and the skill combinations that can exist within the game Breach. With the Veiled Demons, I believe that they are a bit more strict, but I don't think that should deter you, as you can possess NPCs, as I've said before, which give you even more access to skills. And I have not played many of the Veiled Demon classes, so I can't really comment personally on that. However, I've seen gameplay, and the styles are extremely varied. I know one class of Veiled Demon is focused on building constructs or turrets to afflict the enemy mages, and I believe one is focused on possessing NPCs, and I think one is focused on summoning, perhaps? I don't know. It looks really interesting to me, and I'm excited to play more Veiled Demon, though I don't think I'm super good. Though I will toot my own horn and say that I won my first game as the Veiled Demon. I was very accomplished. I felt proud. And I also think that's also a aspect of Breach that people might not think of when you first hear about a first impression video. When you win playing the Veiled Demon, it feels fantastic. It feels so much fun. It feels so satisfying because you just beat out 4 other players. The odds were not against me. So I think that is also something to think about. The overall aspect of the dungeons are pretty standard. Nothing super outlandish that I've seen so far. It's pretty much complete objectives. And these objectives consist of transporting artifacts, staying within rings to claim an area, killing waves, killing some bosses, and maybe a couple other differentiated objectives. But the final fight, when you get to the final stage of the dungeon, the final boss fight, that is when the magic happens. That is when the fighting and the combat comes to a flashpoint, comes to a head, comes to a T. That is when you have to be on your A game, because not only are you facing off of an AI-controlled mega boss, you also, depending on the game mode, might have an enemy human Veiled Demon that you have to manage. And the Veiled Demon has an elite ability, By the way, did I mention all classes have elite abilities? Yeah. And the Veiled Demon's elite ability can summon even stronger demons. So you have to deal with the Veiled Demon skills, stronger demons, NPC kind of pawn demons, and then a giant final boss. And it can become a fiasco, but a very fun fiasco. So that's like my slightly unorganized thought on the gameplay. I don't have a script. I'm kind of just talking out my mouth and my vacant head. I'm going to move on to my final impressions and give my final recommendations / scores of Breach. To keep this quick and concise, I think Breach might not... I don't want to say they don't push the envelope. They push the envelope in areas that they know they can excel at, and they do. And they do it very well. I think the introduction of a 4 versus 1 player dungeon crawler is a nice flair to the dungeon crawling game category, and a wonderful try for anyone who is thinking about getting into a dungeon crawler. Maybe you don't play a lot of PvE dungeon crawling games, and I would say Breach would be a very fun and very vibrant first dungeon crawling game to try. Breach is currently in early access, where you can buy it on Steam and support the company that is making Breach. I would highly say shout out to the company that makes Breach, support them, give them money, or I don't say give them money, but if you are interested in, saying, buying a class or buying some cosmetics or even getting early access, I'd say it could be worth it. And not only that, if you are opposed to paying money, as I'm financially conscious of, I know, love getting people a good quick save on a buck, saving some money, saving some coin, because the times are tough. Breach has many free weekends and many events where if you play it a certain weekend during its free weekend, you get it for free. You just get to keep it. And I think that is an awesome move to lure players in if they are having second thoughts. So if this video has intrigued you, stay on the lookout for Breach. Go follow them on their social media. Make sure you just watch some videos on the game. I myself am interested in doing some class coverage once I get the hang of more classes, once I unlock more classes, and once I'm feeling a bit more confident in my arcane mender skills. Final thoughts. Really am having a fun time with it. It's good to play with your friends, and I'd say it's a solid recommendation. Thank you everyone for watching. I hope you guys enjoyed. Like if you liked it, comment down below on your thoughts on Breach if you've played it or if you have not played it. And I will see you guys in the next video. Take care everyone. Bye-bye.